we had long days with the whole crew and cast got super sick. We were blaming it on La Llorona because the kids, we literally had to shut down the production, and the kids got pneumonia. And then people were like, "It's La Llorona. She's come for us, and she's come for the kids."
What do you want audiences to experience tonight?
Terror. Just terror.
I want them to be scared, which I will. From the beginning to end, you're going to be at the edge of your seat. But also, there's some really wonderful stories of strength of women.
I loved the idea that there was 3 strong female characters. Patricia and I both play single mothers, and so it's up to them to sort of save themselves and to save their children.
Michael Shavs did such a great job on this film, and and all the amazing talented actors and cast on this film.
This is a joyful movie. It's a horror movie, but James makes joyful horror movies. This is fun, and it's also really scary and suspenseful and dreadful. And we think we've really done her right, and that was really always the intention.
Please welcome back to the stage the director of The Curse of La Llorona, Mr. Michael Shavs.
What is up, guys? I think the blessing worked. It feels like most of everyone's still here. We lost a couple of people, but that's natural. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I am so, just so honored to be here. And, yes. Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say. Am I going to bring some people on?
You should.
We have a lot of awesome people here. First up is Patricia Velasquez.
One of you guys want to take one of these? Yeah, you guys can share it if you want.
Next is Linda Cardellini.
Okay, here.
And Raymond Cruz. And Gary Doberman. Director of Annabelle 3, guys, in case you didn't know. Emil Gladstone. And we have one last person, the master of horror himself, Mr. James Wan.
All right, so Michael, this is your first feature film.
Yes.
And you got to make it with New Line, with this amazing cast, and the horror master himself, Mr. James Wan. How are you feeling right now?
Just on fire. It was awesome. It is seriously, as you guys can see, I mean, this is the best team there is. New Line, they're in another golden era of horror films, and they are killing it. It is such an honor to be working with those guys. And, I am extremely lucky to, I just did a short film, guys. I just did a short film. They hired me off a short film. But they put me together with this incredible cast. They're so talented. They brought so much humanity to the film. The reason you guys get scared is because you connect to the characters and you connect to the moments. And it's, crazy supernatural events. And the only thing that really anchors it in reality are these guys here. And also, of course, our amazing kids who are not here tonight, but, they really bring a lot of humanity to it. And then behind the scenes, my producers, they all did so much, and they were just essential in guiding me through the process and, supporting my good ideas and, the ideas that were a little rocky. They would nurture them to the point of maybe they're not going to be in the movie, but they were so great, and it was such an awesome experience. I feel like that might have been too long. I felt like I was doing a TED Talk there.
It's your first feature film. You're new. It's good. You're doing great. So you chose to set it in 1970s Los Angeles. Was that why was that choice? Was it aesthetic, the storytelling?
Yeah, I think that's how it was always written, and there was some discussion of how it could be tied in, but ultimately, as you guys have seen now, and I can talk about it, there is this Conjuring connection, and it's where we have Father Perez, and he's set in that period. But beyond that, I love that period. I love the texture. There's something about the grittiness, especially of a police procedural, which is kind of the endpoint to the story that I thought was really great. And the other big thing is there's no internet. There's no cell phones, but most importantly, there's no internet. So you're not going to Google who's La Llorona? Why is she coming after my kids? How do I solve it? You know, you have that. you have the journey of discovery. You have the asking of questions, going to Father Perez, and just that whole journey.
And James, so what drew you to this legend, and how do you, see this fitting into the Conjuring universe?
You know what? It's really funny. People like to tell me ghost stories for some reason. People have to come up to me and just tell me all kinds of stories, and especially they love telling me ghost stories. And when I first came to America, this was literally one of the first few ghost stories people love to keep coming up to me and keep telling me. I'll go to a shop. I'll go to like a clothing shop, and whoever's helping me, they'll be a fan of my work, and then the next thing I know they'll be pitching me to do a La Llorona film. And so I've been very familiar with it for a while, and I'm a big fan of just ghost stories and myth from all kinds of different culture, and so and the fact that there hasn't really been a movie of this been made, at least at this level, was something that was very interesting, and and to do it with the right people, was important too.
And why do you think she's such a potent figure?
I think her definitely who she is, how she came about, and how she became, what she is very important. I think, and the fact that she's not necessarily just a outright, evil villain. The fact that she's really there's a lot of melancholy to her character, I think, is what makes her really interesting, and I think part of the reason why it's sort of transcended time, and you get different cultures that has different versions, because I know we have versions of her as well, or a sort of ghost-like character like that in the Chinese culture that I grew up with, and to sort of see different sort of ethnicity, different background, how that translate with a character like this is really interesting.
Yeah, there's also a culture in Greek culture. There's also this kind of same character. And,
yeah.
The amazing cast. You're all such accomplished actors. You're not normally known for the horror genre. What drew you to this project?
Well, with me, I read a script that was called something else.
Okay.
And as I was reading it, I completely fell in love with the story. But as I'm reading it, wait a minute, this is La Llorona. Oh my God, this is La Llorona. I wonder why they're calling it something. This is I have to be a part of this, because the one thing that really, not only it was a wonderful script, I had no idea who was involved. So it was just a really
Did you grow up with La Llorona?
Right, and because I grew up with La Llorona, for us, I'm sure who here has grown with La Llorona? And you guys, one thing we have to say is you've been such a wonderful audience. It's so great for us to be together for the first time and see it with you. Thank you. So when we grew up, La Llorona for us is not a folk tale. It's not a legend. It's not a story. Real. She's real. She has no borders. It's not like, oh, we live in the U.S., she's back in Mexico or in Venezuela. No. She's here. Right
this
now.
Was Mexico.
So, yeah.
Woo! Yeah, little known fact. We are. This is current. This used to be Mexico.
Yes, still is.
Little known fact. And what about you, Raymond? You grew up with La Llorona?
I grew up with La Llorona, and I was terrified of La Llorona. And when I found out they were making a movie about La Llorona, I had some reservations about it. And we suffered some supernatural occurrences on the set that were unreal. And, just to be a part of a horror, I love horror films, and I wanted to be part of a good one, and this is a great one. This is fantastic. And so to be part of our history, a legend from our culture, and then to share it with the rest of the world so she can scare the shit out of you too. Ta-da!
What drew you to this role?
I had never done anything like this.
Yeah.
For me, the exciting thing about being in this industry and being an actor is you get to change from thing to thing. I think I was coming off of, we did this a while ago, and I think I was coming off Daddy's Home, and that was could not have been further from what I was doing here, with the exception of she's a mom. But and so when I read the script, I thought, wow, I didn't know it. which was great because my character doesn't know it, and then which is what gets her into terrible trouble and basically ends up killing children, you know? And I thought, wow, I love the idea of the road to hell being paved with good intention. And here comes this woman who thinks that she's helping all along these 4 years she's been helping this family, and she just completely curses herself, and brings it onto her whole world. And I loved the idea that she was a single mom, a widow, somebody who was fighting on her own with her kids, but had to enlist other people, had to discover faith, had all these things. And she just sort of, she gets beat up, but she also kicks a little ass too.
Absolutely.
I like that.
So earlier tonight, yes, indeed, kicking ass. So earlier tonight, we got to meet the curandero, Salvador Gata. But I hear you also had a curandero on the set, and also a priest blessed the set.
Didn't help.
No, it didn't help.
He does have a good story. He really does.
Okay, let's hear it.
We were shooting in the scene where I'm battling La Llorona, and I had a Bible in one hand and my hand to God, and I was wearing a bracelet for protection. It was made of these stones, and they protect you against negative energy. And as I had my hand up, the bracelet burst off my wrist. I wasn't touching anything. And Chop said, cut. He's like, what the hell was that? And I got my bracelet, and we picked up the stones. 3 of them were split perfectly in half. And I took one outside, and I tried to break it on a cement porch, and I could not break it. I was slamming it, I was stomping on it, and I could not break it. And when that happened, I felt this, like, cold blast, like chill went through my body when it happened. So, God be with you.
Leave that red handkerchief here.
Leave it. Leave it.
So did anyone else employ any other tactics against La Llorona on set?
I did. I had crystals in pockets. I was wearing tiger's eye. Oh, I believe in it. Trust me. I was geared up. I was scared. I was scared when I was shooting it.
I felt...
Exorcist? Poltergeist?
I had this thing the day before we started shooting, and I wasn't there as many days. We do this thing sometimes before you start a role, the night before that you go. It's like a little prayer. Dear inner self, if it is your will, please allow me to see in a dream tonight the struggle of the character, Patricia, so I can get closer to you. And then you go with love and respect, you sign it, you date it, and you put it next to your bed. And in the middle of the night, I got woken up by this scream, and I thought it was this woman, but I thought, oh my God, my daughter. So I ran out of bed, I hit myself in the shoulder. I fell as I walked into her room on my knee, and the noise woke her up. And she goes, Mama? Ma, I pretended, are you cold? No, Mama, can you lay with me? I lay down, and all of a sudden I start feeling the pain, the blood coming out of my knee. I wait until she falls asleep. I go to my bed, I'm cleaning my knee, and then I look at the note. And I said, oh my God, that was La Llorona. I understand her pain. She came to show me her pain. And the day after, we had a really short, the first early call. I went to set and I understood. That's when I felt she's not only with us, she's making sure we're doing good by her. So use that red thing.
Definitely throw those handkerchiefs away when you leave the theater. Anybody else? Are y'all superstitious? Do you guys believe in the paranormal?
Why are you looking at me when you say absolutely? Yeah, I'm a big believer. I think primarily it's more fun to think about. That there's something out there or things out there, which is why I stayed near Raymond on set because he had the gear. But yeah, totally. I think it also helps when you're approaching the story to really come to it as a believer.
James?
Come on, Emil. Speak up.
Emil.
Yeah, of course, I believe in the supernatural. I mean, why wouldn't you? Look, as humans, we have these souls, and we make movies, and we watch movies, and we're passionate about stuff. If there's going to be that kind of positive energy, then there's going to be negative energy, and we see it sometimes here, and that energy, sometimes I don't think it goes away all the time, and That's why there's ghosts, and that's why there's stuff that just feels icky and like cold and stuff. Of course you believe it. I mean, how do you make these movies if you don't believe it?
James, you believe.
Oh yeah, I'm a chicken shit. I'm terrified of, that's why I make ghost stories.
So Michael, what else, what's next for you?
We're going on a very small horror film that maybe some of you have heard of this franchise. It's the Conjuring 3. I am such a huge fan of the franchise. I am such a huge fan of James. These are big shoes to fill, but we're taking it really seriously. We're going to make an awesome movie for you guys.
Well, yes, we'll keep you to it. So what is it like having Mike take over for you, James, on The Conjuring?
It's it's a bit bittersweet for me, obviously, but I feel like I've kind of done what I needed to do with the Conjuring, at least Conjuring 1 and Conjuring 2, and I feel like like Mike was this brand new voice, and I think he's gonna add a lot to this world, and it's a great script. I'm still involved in it. I'm still very involved in it as a producer and making sure, we have, great scares and great characters for Patrick and Vera to play. And so I'm super excited. I'm super excited to see what Patrick and Vera are going to do, in Michael's hands.
And yes, indeed, we all do. Did you, Linda, did you have anything to add to anything on set that you kept? Did you have any superstitions on set?
I have a lot of superstitions. I have like the actory superstitions. I have knock on wood. I used to carry a piece of wood in my car in case I had a thought that I had to knock on wood about. So it gets a little, depending on how tired I am, they go even further. They sort of spin out. But I think I'm superstitious by, I don't know, by nature or by nurture. I'm not sure. But ghosts, I don't know. But when we went to the Driscoll, is that the name of that haunted hotel that we were just at? Beautiful, right? I'd never been there before, and they put me in. They let us go in to see that suite, and in the suite there is a bathtub. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there is like a claw-footed bathtub that looks so much like that bathtub. And they sent me in there to use the restroom, and I thought, okay, well, and I'm looking around and there's stained glass, and I'm thinking I'm in here by myself. This is a haunted hotel, and it's terrifying, and the lights flickered. So, and I'm not the person who had any kind of experience on set, and I was like, oh shit, she's coming after me now. So.
And all the crazy stuff that happens in this film, is there anything that stands out to you after watching it that scares you a little bit more?
It's great to hear the sound.
The sound was great.
Because we watched it on a little screen in a little room, and I didn't understand and it was also great I haven't seen a scary movie with a full audience in so long, and I loved scary movies growing up, and that's what reminds you of how much fun it is to go to the theater and see them, because everybody watches everything at home now, and it really is an experience to sit there and hear when people are scared, and then immediately you have a reaction where you laugh. Afterward, and it was so much fun to hear that and to be a part of that and to do that myself about things that I already know are happening but still surprised me. It's a really, horror films are an amazing group experience.
I agree.
And you guys were such an awesome audience. I mean, you're like the second component to the film experience, and it's every time that I've seen it with people, it's always a little different, and you guys were just the best. You were so awesome.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the cast and the crew of Curse of La Llorona.
Thank you.